Welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button. Smash the like. Share with a friend. Thank you very much. And obviously, Ace is not very happy today, guys. He is not too happy today at all. Your New Jersey Devils dropped an absolute stinker at home at the Rock, losing by a score of 5-3 to the Calgary Flames. And guys, there's no way to sugarcoat this one. This one absolutely stings, an absolute gut punch. Just wow. I have no words. Looking to get another win after that miraculous Jake the Snake Allen stolen victory in Columbus, where the Devils surrendered 24 shots in the third period alone. Jake Allen stood on his head. Stole the game in the 2 points of the Devils, looking to get back to a little more consistent play at home, get another 2 points. And wow, the Flames came in there and just what a devastating loss. We get to the game. I'm not going to get into too much nitty gritty here, but first period, Nico comes in with a nice wraparound. It's in the goalie's pads. Timomeyer's there whacking away. And at first, it looks like it's a Timo goal. Later changed to Nico Hischier. So it would have been nice for Timo. It is what it is. I'm not going to complain about who gets credit for it. But Timo had just as big of a part on the goal as Nico did. Nico threw it on net. It was kind of in Wolf's pads. Timo's there whacking away. And while he did not make contact with the puck, he certainly had a huge part in the goal. Even if it was just hitting Wolf's pads or hitting him a little bit to jar the, cause a little momentum to get the puck to roll in, he had a huge hand in the goal. But it ends up being Nico's goal late in the period from Nason and Kovacevic. Devils have a 1-0 lead. That's how the first period ended. And I was feeling pretty good after the first period. Devils with 9 shots, Flames with 5. Solid period for the New Jersey Devils. I was like, okay, we're back home. Maybe we're going to see a better game. And so far, so good. 1-0 after 1. We get to the second. And my man Erik Haula just rips a wrister towards net. It's super wide of net, by the way. And banks off of former New Jersey Devil giant of a man, defenseman, Kevin Ball, ricochets off Kevin Ball and into the net. And Erik Haula gets a goal assisted by Dumoulin, giving the Devils the 2-0 lead in the second. And at that point, I was flying high. Up 2-0 early in the second. I thought this was going to be a solid Devils win. And boy, was I mistaken. A little while later in the period, Flames on the power play. Matt Coronado, power play goal. Cuts the lead to 2-1. And I was like, all right, we still have the lead. Obviously, now it's a little bit tighter. A 2-goal lead is nice. A 1-goal lead is, but it's still a lead. And late in that period, my man Paulie Cotter comes in, and we see those silky mitts once again. He cuts to the middle. Beautiful finish from Cotter. At 19:32, only 28 seconds left in the period, Paul Cotter gives the Devils the 3-1 lead heading into the third. And I'm not even going to lie, guys. I thought, barring a catastrophe, this game was ours. Devils with 16 shots in the second period, Calgary with 8. So through 2 periods, Devils nearly doubling them up on shots. Devils with 25 shots on goal through 2, Calgary with 13 shots. 3-1 lead after 2. I'm like, all right, finally, we're going to get a nice win. Markstrom back in net, obviously, I forgot to mention earlier, looking to get back to the level we saw him at in December and January, playing his old club, looking for payback on the Flames for the loss that they gave us on the Western Canada road trip earlier in the season, where we lost on a super late goal. 0-0 game with like 5 minutes or just under 5 minutes left in the third. And Kevin Ball, of all people, to Blake Coleman, gets the game-winning goal in that one. Devils got shut out. Terrible loss, but looking to get back. And we have a 3-1 lead going into the third, and literally that is when it all just came crumbling down. Crumbling down. The Flames get a goal at 6:50 to cut it to 3-2. They get another one at 15:40 with just 4 minutes and 20 seconds left to tie it up at 3. And at that point, I'm like, oh, my God, I can't believe this is happening. But, we should at least get to overtime or the shootout and get a loser point at worst case, which would have infuriated me as it is, but better than 0. But sure enough, 1 minute later after the game is tied, Huberdeau gets one to give the Flames the 4-3 lead. The crowd is stunned. The players are stunned. They add one on the empty net with 12 seconds left. Flames win 5-3. I'm just completely disgusted. Another third period in which the Devils did not show up. We look at the third period shots. Devils with 4. 4 shots in a period. How do you only conjure up 4 shots in a period? 4 shots. And the Flames had 15. Unbelievable. The Flames had more shots in the third period than they did in the first 2 periods combined. And Devils with 4 shots. They averaged 12.5 shots. 25 shots through the first 2 periods. 12.5 shots on average. And they get 4. Like, how does this happen? The second game in a row where they just go to sleep in the third period and act like the game's over. It's crazy. If it was not for Jake the Snake Allen, again, all credit to Jake Allen in the world. I'm a huge Markstrom guy, but I love Jake Allen as well. Without Jake Allen in that Columbus game, we're losing that game, probably by multiple goals. He stood on his head in that third. Total barrage. Devils steal the win. And this third period, we didn't get as lucky. Markstrom was not able to steal the win. Devils went to sleep. Like I said, full-out assault by Calgary. They get 4 unanswered goals in the third and win the game 5-3. I'm completely disgusted. It's just one of those completely disheartening losses. Horrible way to lose a hockey game with a 2-goal lead in the third at home. I mean, how do you blow that? Especially given where we are. I mean, yes, we are comfortably, sort of comfortably, I guess, in a playoff spot, but teams are getting hot and, nothing's guaranteed. I want to clinch this spot as soon as possible and make the playoffs. If the Devils do not make the playoffs somehow, and again, I know the odds and everything are super in our favor, I will be in a hospital. Quite frankly, in a hospital. I don't know if it's a regular hospital with heart conditions or other things, or a straight-up mental hospital, or maybe I'll be shuffled between the two of them. But either way, your boy Ace will be in a hospital of some kind if the Devils fail to make the playoffs. It would be an absolute travesty. Maybe some of you will be hospitalized with me. Maybe we can get a group rate and get a whole wing or a floor of one of these medical facilities, but I'm just at a loss for words. Super painful loss. 2 points just escaped. It's brutal. Completely brutal. Markstrom looked fairly solid through 2. Wasn't tested a whole bunch. He did come up with some big saves, and even in that third period where it all fell apart, he made some big saves, but in the end, didn't make enough to get the win. And it's unfortunate. I'm not going to blame this loss on Markey. He certainly did not, do us any favors, I suppose, with his play. Let's be real. I mean, he struggled for sure. Some of those goals were bad. But in the end, I'm not going to blame the loss on him. The Devils went to sleep again in the third period. It cannot happen. 2 consecutive games in a row where in the third period they go to sleep. I'm just trying to think of other random things from this game. I'm just trying to wrap this up, honestly. I apologize for my subpar effort here, but it's just, gutting to make these videos after a loss like this. I'm not going to lie. I'll be completely honest with you guys. This is painful to sit here in front of this camera and talk about a game like this. The delay of game penalties. The Devils must, and I tried to look this up. It's not an easy stat to find. I'm going to try to follow up on it, but the Devils must lead the league in delay of game penalties. I feel like it's been a constant thorn in our side all season long, and in that second period, we got 2 of them in a row. It's crazy. Completely crazy. 2 of them in a row, and the Flames scored on the first power play from a delay of game. Pesce got one at 11:39. They scored on that power play, and then shortly after, Timomeier got one, which I thought was completely BS. Again, I have to go back and watch it, but it was nowhere near intentional. It's not like he was under duress and flipped it out to, get out of a high-danger situation against the Devils. He was kind of behind the net in the corner, and, it popped up weird, and he, hit it twice, and on the second time it went over. When it rains, it pours, guys. I mean, injuries, delay of games. But, yeah, 2 delay of games back-to-back. I think we have to lead the league. I'm going to try to follow up on that. I thought the boarding penalty on Timo in that first period was kind of BS. It was 2 minutes for playing hockey. I didn't even think he hit Hanley. I didn't even think he was going to reach the boards when Timo flattened him. Great hit by Timo, by the way. Absolutely crushed him. And if I'm Keefe, I'm perfectly fine with a penalty like that. To me, that was not a blatant – we've seen some egregious, blatant – hits where you're like, how are you going to throw that hit and think you're not going to get penalized? He was a good distance away from the boards, and Timo just crushed him, and he ended up hitting the boards. But I thought that was super questionable. People disagreed with me. It is what it is. I think that's just a nice hockey hit there. But Timo got the penalty for that. But all in all, I mean, this was a game where you have to say, even as a hater, and there's a lot of you, unfortunately, Timomeier was an absolute wrecking ball in this game. Just hitting guys. He was just everywhere. What more do you want? He came out with a vengeance early on in the game and was setting the tone. I thought Timo played a pretty good game, but all in all, the team as a whole, once again, third period went to sleep, and as a result, the Devils drop another horrible one. I mean, this probably could be loss of the year. It's between this and Dallas. It's a close call for me. Which one stung me more? But I'm not going to dwell on it either way. Onward and upward. Devils have another big one Saturday. The Senators are coming off a loss. They suffered a loss last night, and they're not trying to lose 2 in a row. They've been pretty hot as of late, in a playoff spot right now, holding down that number 1 wild card spot. Brady Tkachuk and the Sens are desperately looking to make the playoffs, and it's not going to be an easy one. They're going to throw everything at us. Jake Allen's going to be back in net on Saturday. Again, the goaltending kind of question mark continues. If the playoffs were to start tomorrow, I think most people would agree that Jake Allen should be the starter. Now, I do think when he's at the top of his game, jacobmarkstrom, is a true X factor. But, again, serious injury, missed 5 weeks, and he hasn't looked like the same guy since he's been back. I am hopeful that he can return to that guy, but there is no guarantee of that. We're running out of real estate on the season here. Only 12 games left for the Devils in the regular season. It's crazy. It just seemed like training camp was just yesterday. The season flew like that. We have 12 games left, and they're going to have to figure it out. I mean, Markey's definitely going to get some starts in the next week and a half or so. I mean, he'll get some before then, but in the next week and a half, you're looking at a pretty dense schedule. Saturday, home against the Senators. Monday, home against the Canucks. Then we have a 3-game road trip. Wednesday the 26th at Chicago. Friday the 28th at Winnipeg. Saturday the 29th at the Wild. And then back home Monday the 31st for the Wild. So you're talking about 6 more games in March. Markstrom's going to play minimum 2 of those. And I guess, in those 2 starts minimum heading into the final month of April for the final stretch of the final 6 games of the season, that's going to give us a lot of answers. If Markstrom continues to struggle, I think it's going to be Jake Allen's net for the playoffs, and it is what it is. You got to throw your best guy out there, but it's all just, oh, man, I just can't believe another season of just somewhat turmoil, but hopefully they make the playoffs. It's playoffs or bust, must make the playoffs at all costs, and I still remain hopeful despite 2 third periods in a row of just tragic hockey that this Devils team could get their heads out of their collective asses and give us a 60-minute effort. They've shown when they're playing at the top of their game, they could beat anyone. And when it's ugly, they've shown that they're capable of losing to anyone. It is what it is with this Devils team. There's no guarantees in life or for this hockey club. The parity in the league is good. Bottom feeder teams like the Blackhawks could give you a hard time, and there's no easy wins. Almost every game left on our schedule, conceivably the team we're playing could be playing for something, whether they're still trying to stay alive in a playoff race to get into a wild card, teams trying to win their division, teams trying to win the President's Trophy. I mean, it's just everyone's got something to play for, and there's going to be no lay down easy wins. That does not exist in the NHL. This is the greatest hockey league on planet Earth. Elite players on every team, even the bad teams. Even bad teams have great players, and they could light you up, and it could happen in a hurry. We saw it last night. I'm just trying to think anything else in my mind. Oh, the toughest man in the National, Curtis McDermott, finally made his return. We all thought we were going to get some payback for the broken jaw that Nathan Bastian suffered in Calgary at the hands of Ryan Lomberg, the Lamborghini, when he was just pummeling Bastian kind of against the boards and glass and had him trapped and was just hammering him and ended up breaking his jaw. Definitely thought Curtis McDermott was going to dole out some punishment. I do think Keefe is super gun-shy to let fighters do their thing, especially in tight games. And I thought with that 3-1 lead, if the Devils held that lead late into the third or added to it, he would have unleashed McDermott and let him go to work. But obviously that didn't happen. That 3-1 lead evaporated pretty quick. 3-2, then tied up, and then down. It was over. I guess he was really waiting for the most ideal scenario to let McDermott go to work on him, and it's unfortunate. And so that's just another kind of kick in the privates to me on top of the painful loss. To blow a 2-goal third period lead and then not get retribution on Lomberg, it was just a terrible night. But they got to dust it off. Saturday is going to be another huge test, and it's not going to get any easier. They got to keep playing playoff hockey. They got to play for 60 minutes, not 45 or 50, 60-minute efforts, and get the job done. I'm just, quite frankly, honestly disgusted. It was a painful loss. I know a lot of you are up in arms. Shout out to everyone that came out to the Post-Postgame Live. A lot of just devastated fans like myself commiserating in the Post-Game show, but wow. I don't even know. They got to respond big time. Jake Allen's going to have to stand on his head again. Hopefully nowhere near the level he did in Columbus. But he's a difference maker when he's on top of his game. And that just goes to show you the value of the 1A and 1B. You know, our 1A got injured. We relied on Jake Allen heavy when Markey was out. And now that Markey's back and struggling, we're relying on Jake Allen once again. And it very well may be his net for the playoffs and for the bulk of this pre-playoff stretch before the playoffs. Time will tell. Hopefully he stays solid. Hopefully Markey gets his game back. We're going to see him again very soon, I'm sure. Got to get back to that December-January Markey we saw, who was a Vezina caliber goalie. He was going to get a Vezina nomination. It's super unfortunate. Yeah, and then Dougie and Jack, you heard again. I mean, you just can't. When it rains, it pours. You just can't make up the stuff that has happened to this team. We have just been super unlucky, and it sucks so bad. I just want to be in the playoffs and be a good team so badly. So badly. Is that too much to ask? It's been a long time, guys. It's been a damn long time. And again, we briefly touched on this in the Post-Postgame Live. For everyone that's like, oh, it's okay, there's always next year and the future's bright. This is year 8 of Nico Hischier and jesperbratt's careers. Year 8 for 2 of our main core players. Their 8th season in the league. And for those of you that may not remember or never knew, those distinguished gentlemen, jesperbratt and Nico Hischier, have a whopping single playoff round win on their resumes right now. 1 round. That amazing 7-game series win over the New York Rangers is the only playoff round those boys have ever won in their NHL careers. That breaks my heart. Furthermore, it was 1 round, and in their total careers, they've won 6 playoff games. Let that sink in. 8 years, they won 6 total playoff games and 1 round. So obviously, they beat the Rangers in 4 games to win a series. They won 1 additional game in the second round before the Canes just quickly dusted us in 5. So that's 5 playoff wins total in that 22-23 season. And the only other singular playoff game won by Nico Hischier and jesperbratt was in their rookie season in 2017-18 when Taylor Hall had a performance for the ages and dragged a very subpar New Jersey Devils club to the playoffs. Dragged them there on his back before Tampa beat us in 5 games in the first round. So the Devils won a single game that time as well. So you're talking about, again, 6 playoff games won by Nico and jesperbratt. This is year 8, guys. It's time to stop talking about the future is bright and all of this stuff. It is time for this team to start winning now. We are wasting precious years of this core. It breaks my heart to see it for the guys on the team, especially Bratter and Nico. Heart and soul guys, and they've been here 8 years, and it's been nothing but mostly turmoil. It's super unfortunate, and especially for the longtime fans. I know a lot of the younger fans or newer fans that never experienced winning at the Lou Lamoriello level during the dynasty years, they're just like, they're kind of whatever about it. Longtime fans like myself, and people who have been fans even longer than me, saw the glory years. We've seen the mountaintop. Look behind me. Behind me is a shrine to the glory years. 3 beautiful Stanley Cups in 1995, 2000, and 2003. The last time we were truly like a contender, whatever you want to call it, a real contending team. I guess we all believed we were in 22-23, but, you know, second round ouster, I can't really count that. The 2012 Stanley Cup Finals run. The last dance for the great Martin Brodeur and Patty Elias. And that was a painful loss to the Kings in the finals. But that was 13 years ago and a few months from now. A few months from now, that was a 13 years ago matchup in the Cup Finals. I mean, it's just, I'm going to stop complaining, guys. But I still believe in this club. They got to get their shit together. They got to play 60 minutes. And they've shown that they could do it. They're playing a grittier brand of hockey. It's not all east-west, razzle-dazzle, Instagram hockey. They're chipping pucks in. They're getting in on the forecheck. They're going to the corners. They're winning battles. They're going to the net. They're screening goalies. They're looking for rebounds. They're looking for greasy ones. And that's how you win games, especially in March and April and beyond into May. I have hope still. They got to figure it out. Hopefully they come together, bounce back with a massive performance Saturday night against the Senators at the Rock, and leave us all super happy. But wow, what a gut punch of a loss tonight. But I hope I didn't forget anything. I just kind of rambled for a while. But let me know what you thought about this game in the comments. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be ugly. You know, the post game was full of doomers. Shout out to all of those who were on the front lines with me fighting off the doomers. But wow. Yeah, anything, everything Devils hockey, throw it out there in the comments. I enjoy talking to most of you. I'm not going to say all of you anymore because it's not all of you. So it wasn't an intentional lie. I just misspoke all these previous videos. I don't enjoy talking to all of you. I enjoy talking to most of you. And yeah, I'll be back soon. Lots of stuff in the works as always. But yeah, throw it out there in the comments, and I'll be back soon. Thank you all for watching. I love you all, or I love most of you. I'm delirious. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go